Governor, you mentioned the LCs for vehicles, and this was higher than what we initially estimated, which was around 1.2 to 1.5 billion. And do you think the higher than expected LCs had an impact on the rupee depreciation that was mentioned? And if so, are there any plans to potentially limit it if there's a depreciation pressure on the rupee?
As I mentioned, I think currency exchange rate will be determined based on the market demand and supply. There is a high demand for foreign exchange in terms of imports or other means of demand for exchange that will reflect in the currency on a gradual basis. At the same time, remittances, tourism and exports are also doing well. As a result, we are seeing some kind of a balance between demand and supply. But in the short term, if there's a volatility, central bank intervenes, and if there's an undue disorderly adjustment, we intervene and basically smoothen out that volatility. That's what it has happened. But what we see, our overall assessment, issues so current account surplus this year is going to be still 1% of GDP, over 1 billion surplus this year. That's coming from other foreign exchange inflows from the remittances, tourism and exports. Obviously, there's a higher demand for imports, partly coming from the motor vehicle imports, partly coming from the other imports. Because credit is growing, private sector activities are happening, economy is growing at a healthy rate. That certainly will reflect in the exchange rate. That's a natural way of determining exchange rate. That's why we are seeing some depreciation this year, around 5% on gradual basis. So then and also the fact that I want to emphasize here, under current exchange rate determination regime, exchange rate can move both ways. It's not a one-way movement. We have seen even the last couple of weeks some depreciation has turned around, now appreciated and stable at that level. But in the past, we saw at some point, I think 2023 or 24, depreciated, starting with 370, came down to 280 level, and went up to dollar went up to 329, and again appreciated to 290 levels, and then now it's gradually depreciating, and it can gradual movement in both ways is good. We will ensure there will be a movement in both ways, so that there is a balance between demand and supply. So that will reflect and act as a kind of a stabilizer in external demand. So that's what we see. And as I said earlier, these motor vehicle imports are now stabilizing. Obviously, it's a little higher than what we thought at the beginning of the year because of pent-up demand. July, there's a large number of LCs open, July, August, and September. Now, number of LCs are coming down. That will reflect in the next couple of months, demand for imports, especially motor vehicle imports, I think we see stabilizing and coming down.
Just to supplement what Governor said, of course, I mean, vehicle imports are higher than what we expected. But at the same time, there are several other factors in the current account. So if you look at tourism inflows and also remittances, they are also higher than what was initially projected. And that is why the current account is going to record a higher surplus than previously projected. These are all projections. And I was looking at the annual economic review. I'll read out just one sentence from there. It says, overall, the current account is expected to record a surplus in 2025, contingent on the magnitude of the impact of relaxed vehicle import restrictions. So essentially, the magnitude is higher in terms of vehicle imports, but there have been other inflows more than what we expected.